Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel again. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with our first ever track guide at the new Autopolis International Racing Course in the Group 2 cars. This is this week's Daily Race C. The NSX, Raybring NSX, the 2016 model, is the most competitive car I think in terms of the hot lapping pace. So that's the car we're going to use for the time trial track guide. Now this track is really causing me issues. It is not a strong track for myself by any means. I don't seem to be able to really find the ultimate pace. I've improved slightly when I've done this time trial. I've managed to get a reasonable lap done. I think this lap's at 1 minute 34.6. Now there was quite a few corners where I could have gone a little bit faster and I've been a bit more brave on the throttle, but one thing as well I did this lap on my new account, on the one we've created to do daily races. And the reason I've done that because I am so convinced that there is a grip difference between my two accounts, because I spent quite a while trying to do my main account lap, got it down to 134.8, instantly went onto this account and beat it within about like 4 laps. We got down to a 20, we matched it, then went faster again on the next lap, and then started a new one and went faster again on a 34.6. So it really does make me wonder why it's so much easier to get the laps done on this account. It just feels more stable. But let's go through this lap. I may have a little analysis of the videos because I've got them both recorded like this, so we might have a little look at the two accounts and see if we can see any differences on the gameplay. But going into turn 1, we're going to brake just past that 100 board. You see there, the 100 board on the left hand side, I start putting the braking inputs there, and we've got the free to the rear bias. That's to try and help rotate this car through these corners. You can see I try to follow them rubber marks on the track there. You can see them there. That kind of gives you a good line through the corner. See how it hooks it up perfectly. So really use them to judge the turning in point. And you want to clip your right hand front tyre on that curb. A little bit aggressive there, but we got on the throttle okay. I had to give it a little lift. Maybe I could have carried on with maximum throttle there and gained a bit more time, but we didn't do it too badly. Then going into this really fast right hand corner, I look out for the 50 board and brake just before. You can see my braking inputs going in there. We're going to really swing it and try and clip the right hand tyre on the curb on the right hand side. You're going to see as we go into the corner, you're trying to clip that there. Well, you don't want to be as aggressive as I do it here. I go a little bit too far over, but we managed to do it reasonably well still and carry okay speed. You can see how I'm always lifting off the throttle and giving it like 70 to 80% throttle, because you've got to be so careful on this track. And again, jocking it in and coasting through these corners, knowing not much acceleration going through. You can see 50%. Then I'm always playing with that throttle, and then on the brakes as soon as you pretty much got the car in a straight line now. And I brake in a straight line. I don't like swinging it over to the left because it tends to make the rear go slightly loose. So I stay in a straight line and hold it very, very narrow to the apex of that corner, and then get on the throttle as early as possible. You can see an early upshift into second gear just to try and stop the wheel spin slightly, and then accelerate out the corner and into this really fast left hand corner, and just a dab of the brake in this corner. You see just a tiny bit of brake just to try and get the weight onto the front tyres, and then it's just really a really tricky corner. This is one of the corners I struggle on. Just it tends to want to understeer all the way through the corner, so you've got to be very patient with the throttle and try and get it to really bite into that apex. Then accelerate out the corner, up the hill and into the very heavy braking, which I brake dead on the arrow. That arrow there on the right hand side just before the 50 board is my braking reference, and I think it's a really nice and safe braking reference. I use that, really aggressive on the brakes, and you want to just slowly take it into the apex of this corner. You don't want to be too early in because you will hit the curb too aggressively, and try and get that left hand tyre just to skim the apex at the top of the hill, so that then you can square it off, get on the throttle nice and early and accelerate out the corner. Now down into this very fast right hand corner. This is another corner that's really, it can really catch you out fairly easily. As we go down the hill, you see I chuck it in and a little dab of brake just before that 50 board there, and you want to skim this apex because your car is going to go all the way over to the left hand side of the track, and you've got to try and get back on the throttle very early here to carry the speed through the corners. Well, you see how we're on the throttle very early, and just be careful you don't run too far wide. It is so easy to run onto the grass there and lose control of the car, and then you're going to chuck it into this right hand corner again. I just downshift it into third, a tiny bit of braking again just to get the weight onto the front tyres, not aggressively, just a dab of the brakes, and then just let it coast through in third gear, giving it some throttle there, 50% throttle, just to try and, you know, coast it into the car corner and get on the throttle as early as possible. And then maximum throttle now, and then into the left-hand part of this very tricky section. You see how I'm going to give it a little lift off the throttle as we go into that corner and down to 50% throttle, and then back on the throttle to maximum throttle. And just as we're attacking this corner, I'm going to go into the brakes just very lightly there and down into second gear. I like to do it very early, that braking, just so that you don't run too far over to the left-hand side, because you can lose control of the car very easily. I've done it in the race many a time. You want to try and stay as pretty much in the middle of the track going through that section, and then on the throttle as hard as you can through this section. The car goes very loose through these corners. You have to be really careful on the steering wheel and be very cautious on the throttle as well. You can see a little touch of brake going into this left-hand corner, and then again going into the acceleration zone, just lifting off the throttle as we go in, and then once I feel the grip's there, maximum throttle. You can see having to be careful on that steering wheel. You see the oversteer kicking in, and then into this right-hander, another very tricky corner where you downshift into third, dab of the brakes again just to get that weight onto the front, and try and stay as close to the curb as you can on the right-hand side on the apex. However, you don't want to get on the curb, because when you get the accelerator down, it will make the rear go loose. You can see I was very cautious on the throttle there. I could have been a lot more aggressive. I think I lost out on about a tenth on this last corner. So there was at least about, I think over the lap, probably about 2-3 tenths minimum to come off this. But still, it's not a bad reference lap of a 1 minute 34.6. What we're going to do is now is we're going to have a little look at the lap from the chase camera, and I'm going to try and show you what I mean by how you've got to be very careful on certain corners. Turn 1 is a corner that you have to be really careful on too, because you're going to look, as we go into the corner, you've got to be careful you don't go on the grass on the left for a start, and then it's very easy to run wide on that left hand side there. And again, this is a very technical track, this. I think it's going to take me a bit of getting used to. I think once I'm used to it though, I should be reasonably competitive. At the moment we're lacking a bit of speed, but I've never driven on this track before and it's not really clicking 100% yet. Once it clicks, I think I will enjoy this a lot more, as I do like the layout and the way the corners flow into each other. This left hand corner is another very difficult corner, because you've got to be careful not to carry too much speed, and you've really got to chuck the car in there so it bites into the apex, and stay on the throttle on the exit so you don't lose too much speed off the hill. And then into the very heavy braking zone, you can see how we take this corner pretty well. Top of the hill, clipping the apex on the throttle nice and early upshift into second gear, and accelerating downhill into this fast right hand corner. And then we're going into probably the hardest section on the track, I think. This is the hardest part of the track. You've got to be careful not to run it wide there. Then you've got to just hover on the throttle, and then you can see I give it a little safety lift here, just to try and make sure that I'm not carrying too much speed into this really tricky right hand corner, because the grip is so low at this point on the track. You can see putting 50% throttle in, and again the rear wants to go loose there, it starts to go loose. All the way through them corners is really difficult, and then the final corner, a lot of time can be gained or lost. I was a little bit cautious because I knew I was on an okay lap, and I didn't really want to wreck the lap because I wanted to get this track guide sorted, so could have been a bit more aggressive there and carried a bit more speed, but a reasonable lap. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you watch the lap at full speed without any commentary. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, click that like button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. I'll see you soon. Thanks again for watching, everyone.